I'll be
Last person.
I'll be quick. I was going to leave because I've got stuff to do, but
You know, we're
but
not
I made
even-
it to the front of the
We're not
line.
even gonna limit you. You
always
take
welcome.
all
Well, I'm
the
not
time
going
you
to talk
want.
that long. Thank you for being here to listen to people. I think it's important that we do realize, that we do recognize, in talking about some of the challenges facing our transportation system, is that the Independent Transportation Finance Commission has said that that the available funds over the next 20 years will fall short between $15 and $20 billion. $15 and $20 billion. The reason that bridge is taking 5 years to fix here is because they don't have the money. And they don't even have the people. Federal Highway Administration says we don't have enough people at mass highways to adequately manage the contracts that they put out. We've got too few people. And almost all of those people, most of those people, almost all, 82% of those people are being paid for on borrowed money. Borrowed money. Money we borrow to fix the roads is going to pay the workers, the everyday workers for mass highways. This is something that's occurred over the last 16 years. It's not something that Governor Patrick did. It's something that he was handed, and it's something he has to deal with. 45% of the funds for our highway department are used to pay for debt. 45%. The average in this country is 6%. This is not something that Governor Patrick did. This was something that was handed to him. He inherited by other people who mortgaged our future and drove up our costs. The debt for the big dig was refinanced, was mismanaged, not by the Patrick administration, but that occurred over previous administrations. They refinanced the debt. They refinanced the debt, so the costs were very low in the early years, and starting, and I can see it here. Here we are, 2007, the debt for the big dig, variable interest rate. It's adjusting upward on a regular schedule. Here's Governor Patrick where he came in. Here's where the past administration was. Here's the debt for the big dig now. This is not something that Governor Patrick elected to have happen, asked to have happen. He was handed this mess. He was handed this mess. The only thing that's getting talk in the press is the 19% gas tax. 19 cents gas tax. It's a transportation reform proposal, but the reform always gets lost in this discussion. The only thing the press hears, the only thing people talk about are that 19 cents. Governor Patrick has promised, pledged, threatened that he will not sign a 1 cent increase if reforms didn't come with them. So he's talking about reforms. He's talking about eliminating the MBTA. He's proposing to eliminate the Pike, eliminate 2 other agencies, roll them all up, eliminate 300 overlapping jobs, end the sweetheart deals that the MBTA is getting on pension and retirement and health insurance. Do the reform it takes so that we can spend the money. But those reforms do not add up to $20 billion. Those reforms, in fact, the 19 cents, part of the savings he can't realize is the 19 cents isn't high enough to take all of these people here, most of the people who are on mass highways. He can't take them all for 19 cents. It doesn't give us enough money to take them all off of that borrowing. So he's going to have to do that a little at a time. The bridge here in County Street that's causing traffic through side streets and Seacon, they don't have the money. They issue a contract to do a phase of work, and then next season a phase of work, and then next season a phase of work, because they can't print money. We need reform in government. There is no question. And it would be nice to believe that that reform would provide us with all the money we need to fix everything we have. I wish that were true. I wish it were true. There's no crueler time to talk about raising taxes than now. But the sad part is we wouldn't have to be talking about this if politicians in the past hadn't tried to buy our votes by passing the costs along to us in the future. And now here we are, the very worst time we could ever think about, imagine, hope for, wish to have taxes raised, but the bomb's going off in our lap. The MBTA and the Turnpike Authority, saddled with debt, much of it from the Big Dig, are weeks away from defaulting. And there's no question that Governor Patrick's reform package won't go through the legislature completely unscathed. It's a give and take process. The folks here, we will all have an input, and we will all say, you know, talk about some of the details. Do we want to use that couple of cents for the trains, or do we want to use that couple of cents to come up with an alternative to the gas tax? Because the problem with the gas tax, of course, is we've got to stop using gas. We have to cut back. We have to drive hybrids and more efficient cars, which means we won't be able to pay for our roads and bridges in the future relying solely on the gas tax. But we will still have to pay for it. We will still have to pay for it. We'll pay for it with reforms. And I don't think there's anybody, any of us here, who stand in the way of reforms and aren't championing them. But we'll also have to pay for them honestly, with some increase in taxes at some point. The gas tax, which was set at 21 cents in 1991, now buys only 14 cents worth of work because of inflation. I don't want to pay a single dime. I don't want to pay a single dime. I don't want to pay a single dime in gas taxes to bail out the incompetence of the Big Dig. I wish it had never happened, but it did. But 2/3 of the population in this state live in the metropolitan Boston area. They'll pay 2/3 of the increase, and that is enough to help them fix the Big Dig and help them fix the MBTA. What it gets us, whether it's 19 cents or 12 cents or whatever it is, what we get out of it is we get County Street Bridge fixed. People down in Fall River and Brightman, in Somerset, get that Brightman Street Bridge fixed, which has been going on for a decade. But we don't have the money to do it now. We don't. We don't have the money to fix those potholes. $750 million. That's what people in this state right now pay for damages to their cars, damages that are caused by substandard conditions on the road. $750 million a year, broken axles, tires, everything. 500. That's the number, 500, that's the number of deficient bridges, structurally deficient bridges in Massachusetts today, because we've deferred maintenance, and the more you defer it, the more expensive those costs are, because we've had leaders in the past who led by mortgaging our future and passing the costs on to us here today.
You're preaching to the choir.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you, Representative, for your courage to come here and point out. I just wanted to, I know that you're relatively new to the legislature, but a lot of the reforms that have been proposed over the years have been proposed by those same people that you were noting had apparently passed on those deficits, and there's certainly plenty of blame to go around at this point. But
I'd be happy to share the graph, Senator.
I'd like to also.
Transportation Finance Commission.
I'd be happy to. I know the graphs. I've been there for 11 years. I know what the problems are, and I certainly appreciate your getting up on them as well. You know, the interesting thing about it is we all know that reforms are not going to pay for all of it. That's what we're kind of saying here. We want to do something first before we then ask you all what the issues are. We know that there are very serious problems that have very serious consequences and answers. We get it. But thank you for sharing. And is there anyone else that wants to add anything?
Senator, can I
Well, excuse me, can I have a,
Well, I'm going to open it up to the panel.
I'd just like to follow
Excuse
up
me, I'm
with,
going to open it up to the panel if I could, because, you know, some of them haven't spoken. Senator Charlie, do you have anything to add?
I just, first of all, I appreciate your testimony. I don't want to prolong debate, but I also would like us to remember that the transportation system in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is financed by bond bills. Those bond bills are assembled by the legislature and earmarked heavily by the legislature, and that's a significant part of the issue that we are now faced with. I would also point out that over the years there have been numerous attempts to reduce the size of those bond bills through judicious vetoes exercised to try to control the cost of transportation in Massachusetts. Unfortunately, they have been overridden. We do not need to continue to, in my opinion, to engage in the sort of the back and forth and the give and take. The system doesn't work, and the choice that we have is to put more dollars into the broken machine or fix the machine first and then ask for the revenue necessary to maintain it. And I think that's where we should be.
so I think what I hear everybody saying, I think if I'm not mistaken, what I did hear is that you admitted we're going to have to
Representative,
raise more revenue.
Calm down,
It's
you
no
had your
different than in
chance.
the legislature where we allow the people that haven't spoken an opportunity. This is no different here. I'm asking, you're welcome to
I'm
stay
sorry,
all night. We're not leaving.
I
We're not
apologize.
leaving. You're the one that was running out the door. We're not leaving.